Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to season 2 of the Stephanie Stevens Show and Pronoun TV. This season is going to be exciting, and it's something for everyone. Today on the show, we're going to be talking to a young gentleman about hooking up with men on the DL, part of the LGBT two-spirit pronoun community. This is a story we usually don't talk about. Black men who hook up with DL men or just regular men in general, but consider themselves a specific type for a specific type of gentleman that he is looking for. So today we're going to talk to Micheal Clarke, and he's going to talk to us about his sexual preference of being a bottom in the LGBT two-spirit pronoun community. We want to talk about this because it's not talked about enough. We know it's happening because we watch a lot of the forums on these hookup sites, from Plenty of Fish to Craigslist to Grindr to and Tinder and many of the other ones. So we wanted to talk about this because we thought we could educate some people about the real reality behind closed doors. What men are actually doing, what they actually prefer to do, and what they like. So today I want to welcome to the show Mr. Micheal Clarke. How you doing, Micheal?
I'm great. Oh my God, I feel so great to be here on your show. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And I'm just here relaxed.
Well,
I had a little bit of wine.
Well, you know how it is. Thank you for being here. You know, this season is so exciting because I didn't think we would get to the second season. But then when they started talking to me and they said, well, we like this and we like this and we like this, let's just continue on and we're going to see if we can put it all together. So here we are in season 2, and they wanted me to get down to the meat and guts of the stories for our community. And hopefully we can educate and inspire others. And the reason I liked your this interview here is because when I was watching you on TikTok, I thought, well, my agent, she thought you were bold and you were gutsy. And the fact that you were brave for actually saying what you liked in bed and coming from Black men that usually don't talk about these kind of things, mainly when they're on the down low or they're secretly in the closet. Now, today, on the show, we're going to talk about being a bottom and being an out bottom and not afraid to tell people in the world. And not afraid to tell people what you like in bed, which I don't think there's anything wrong with telling your partner something that you like in bed. Now, where are you from, Micheal?
I'm from the smallest state named Rhode Island. No, it's not part of New York, viewers. It's not part of New York, Rhode Island. It's the smallest state in America. It's right above Connecticut, next to Massachusetts. Because some folks get a little confused. They think that Rhode Island's part of New York, but it's not. It's the smallest state. Some folks do get confused.
So you're from Rhode Island. Is that near Provincetown?
Provincetown is probably like about 2 hours and 45 minutes away from me.
Because they messaged me about maybe doing something down there, something at a place called the post office or something.
Go there.
Oh, okay.
You should.
All right. Now, the reason what are your pronouns? How do you identify?
So you know what? Someone. You know what's so crazy that someone asked me today at Club Vibe Lounge what were my pronouns. And she asked me that, and I was like, well, I identify as him. So she's like, oh, okay, I'm still learning about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm him, I'm he, because I was telling her, I said, I could have been a trans man, because trans men look just very much like men with beards and everything.
Very convincing these days.
Yes. So I'm like, I'm him, I'm he. And she said, oh my God, I want to learn more. So I'm gonna meet with her soon too.
Okay. So now, the reason I thought your story was fascinating is because when I was going through some of your videos and stuff, and you were so openly and honestly about what you like in bed. Now let's first get back and talk about, when did you know you were gay?
I knew I was different since I was probably like 4 years old. Like I was playing with Barbie dolls, and I knew that I was different. You know, my siblings would sit up over here and call me gay, this, gay, that, and I'll be upset, but deep inside I know it was gay. But I just kind of like, it's not like I hid it, but they knew, my mother knew. You know, parents normally are the first ones to know.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother already knew, but my dad didn't know for like years down the road. So at 15, I finally had the courage to tell my mother and my grandmother that I was gay, and they was very accepting of it. They loved it. They didn't care. They have gay friends themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but recently I did tell my dad, he took it very well. My dad loves me too. So it's a blessing.
It's wonderful to have a support system. It really is wonderful to have a support system. You know, I miss my mom and dad every day. And I tell people, and they usually, because I come from a very strict Christian background, and my parents were very accepting of me, and they were very good to me. And I'm the baby. I have an older brother and an older sister, and we never really had that gay conversation in the house. They just knew. They just knew. And it's great that your parents, and now that you've told your father, and you know, a lot of Black fathers, usually when you would tell them that you're gay, they would kick you out of the house or beat you up.
That's what happened to some of my friends. They were disowned. And you know, I come from a strong Christian family background as well. And to them, it's not their job to judge people. From my understanding, they don't judge nobody. That's up to God to judge somebody. God judges people from their heart. God knows your heart. God knows my heart. So he can judge us when that day comes. But it's not anybody else's job to judge you or me. And it's not our parents' job to judge us as well. So they took it like that. And I just felt great to have that support from my siblings and my parents, because like you said, it's really hard for people to get that type of support from their own parents. It really is hard, especially coming from a Christian background.
Now, you know, I see a lot of people now on different apps, especially TikTok, talking openly and questioning the Bible, making real relevant questions for stuff that we might not have known. And it's great that now we are now getting to see not just older people, but younger people who are actually reading from the Bible and, you know, and questioning, this is not what the Bible said. This is not what God said. And these things, now, you know, as Christians, we were taught to believe in the Bible and what it said. But me and you both understand clearly that we're human beings and we're on this planet. And I think if God would have chastised and hated homosexuals, I think he would have said that. Just as the way they put in the Bible about calling women harlots and Jezebels and all of, you know, these kind of things. Now, do you have any siblings?
Well, altogether, my mother has 7 kids. So I have 6 other siblings, 5 girls and 2 boys, which I'm counting myself, my little brother. So we have, you know, I have 6 other siblings.
Anybody else gay in the family?
I want to say my sister Alita, I don't know, she was bisexual back in the day. So I don't know if she's straight or gay, I don't know, but I consider her to be bisexual because she was with the whole girl for many, many years. So she's probably like the only other gay one. Oh, and then my cousin Maurice, he's gay as well. And he does a wonderful job when he gets up in drag. I had to catch myself.
Okay.
It's freaking amazing. Like the way how he does his makeup is just, I'm amazed by it.
Well, Michael, it's great that we actually are now talking to each other around the world, expressing ideas, showing, the way things, how we feel, and we're being openly and honest, and we've gotten the conversation started. And this is a good thing because a lot of these doors were closed in our face for decades and years. We've all been suffering
Yes.
behind, we've been suffering behind the Bible. We've been suffering behind the workforce. We've been suffering behind our own family members, some of them, and we've been, suffering behind society. What the stigmas and all these kind of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about your high school. The reason I'm skipping junior high is because I think that generally we might have dibbled and dabbled when we were in elementary and all that, but I think the meat and guts of the story starts when we were in high school and we have a little bit more freedom because usually you're transported out of your community into other schools and you're getting to meet different races of people or different cultures of people, and you're now mixing with other people. What was your first sexual experience like? Were you with a woman or a man?
I've never been with a woman ever. I think I probably kissed a few girls, but I've never been with a woman. I've always been with a guy. I think I lost my virginity probably like around 17. So that was in high school. Yeah, that's when I lost. That's when I was.
So what
really.
was it like when you had your first sexual experience? What was it like?
All right, so I'm gonna get personal, but my first experience bottoming was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 10.
Okay.
I mean, I did not know what I was doing, but he knew what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. So, something had happened. I was crying because it was too painful. And then we tried it again and it was like butter.
Oh, okay. It's funny when you talk to Black men about bottoming, and because most of them think, well, most of us in general think Black men are supposed to be strong and, virile, and they're supposed to be the aggressor and the dominant one.
Yeah.
Now, it's very funny when I'm actually talking to a Black bottom that is open about what you like in bed. Now, why do you think Black men hide being a bottom so much?
I feel like a lot of them feel like it makes them look weak. Like some of them probably, some of them, but some of them don't want to tell folks that they're bottom. Some bottoms are actually very dominant versus being submissive. There's some submissive bottoms, there's some dominant bottoms out there. Me, I kind of would say I'm like in the middle, kind of, because I'm in the middle. So, but it's tough.
Well,
but
parents
because people. I'm sorry to cut you off, but people look as bottoms. Not a lot of gays, but some gays, from my own experience, after having conversations about this with many of my peers throughout the years, and them expressing their feelings to me expressing my feelings to them. But from my knowledge, from what I had gained from different people from conversations, was that sometimes people don't like to tell people their sexual position right away. Because, once you tell somebody your sexual position, there's no conversation after that. They don't want to talk to you no more. They don't want to do nothing. They don't want to hang out with you because you're not what they want you to be. And I am who I am. Even if I am a bottom, it should still be some kind of friendship and we can network and work together. But some folks don't take it like that. You sit up over there and say that you're a bottom, that's it. They don't want anything to do with you because they can't get what they want from you because you're not the top. So, I mean, that's from my experience, listening to people, my own experience I have went through before. So, because some folks they have a good conversation, and when the time comes down to it, me, I don't like to waste my time. I tell you right up front and center, like I'm a bottom, I'm from Rhode Island, da 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 da. I'll give them the opportunity if they want to continue to talk, even if they are a bottom, I don't mind being their friends. but I still leave that door open. Like if I'm in that state, we can go out for drinks and have mimosas and things like that. But as soon as you say that you are a bottom, I don't know what that's all about. Like, but then again, some folks, when it comes down to dating, they want to know like what's what right then and there. I feel the same way too, as well. So I'm always like very straightforward, cut and direct with it.
Well, it's good that you're actually open and honest about that. A lot of times we did a little bit of research where we saw that a lot of fathers, we talked to a lot of older gentlemen about their sons being gay, not necessarily just Black men. We talked to just a few different gentlemen, and most men, even if they were okay with their son being gay, they didn't want them to be the bottom. And this was kind of shocking to us because when I asked this one older Black man, why wouldn't you want your son to be the bottom? He says, because he's the sissy. Like you said earlier, he's the weak one. He's the frail. And Black men are supposed to be looked at as strong and dominant. Now, a quick question. How do Black women see you? Because sometimes Black men, even on that are bottoms, can sometimes, and in our community, we call them sissified, or they're very feminine and all this stuff. How do Black women see you? Do they just think, what do they think of you when they see you and they see you maybe having bigger hips or a bigger butt and all these, and kind of, Seshan and, Shantan and all that stuff. What do you think they think?
Well, seeing that I'm in the spotlight all the time, I deal with a lot of women of color, actually. When I see my sisters, my Black people, my sisters and my brothers, but when I see my Black sisters out, we praise each other, we compliment each other. We tell each other how handsome, how beautiful you are. That's what we do over here. We do that. We uplift each other. It's never a competition about whose ass is bigger. Shit, I'm sorry. But, that's how we work around these parts of us. I can't speak for everywhere else, but I know like here, like we compliment each other. Like we praise each other. We try our best to work with each other. Like I just left that business meeting, like I was interested in the African jewelry and stuff like that. So we try to work with each other. And I never had that case when it comes to Black women over here, because we always seem to praise each other all the time. So
now I know. Now, a quick question. Now I know that you run into some opposition with men,
I do that.
Heterosexual men, and how do you cope with that?
I'm so glad you asked that question. It's a very important question, actually. I want to say if it was like 5 years ago, I probably would be cussing them out and saying all kind of nasty things to them. But being age 31, I don't have that type of energy no more. That energy left my spirit. However, I had gotten to an altercation with somebody online about Lil Nas X. And, I was commenting, the person was being nasty to me. And then, you know what I said to him? I said, I love you and you have a great night. #love wins. And when I wrote that, this man came back and inboxed me a very respectful note. And he said, we need more people like you. So we don't have to always reply back to a negative. We can always give a positive to a negative and turn that negative into a positive, like I just did. We need more of that. And that's exactly what I did.
Wonderful.
So
now, that's wonderful. Now, let me just ask you, since you mentioned it earlier, what do you think about all of this Lil Nas X controversy?
I must say that Lil Nas X is doing a wonderful job when it comes to marketing. And the reason why I say this is because Lil Nas X, I've been watching him. Lil Nas X and his team knows exactly what they're doing. They know how to get the people talking. So when people are sitting up over here saying negative things about him, they're still talking about him. They're still mentioning him. When people are talking positive about him, they're still talking about him. So of course they're going to drive those numbers up. So either way, he has everyone talking, and this is why he's number one. He's making it because he has homophobics talking. You have the LGBTQIA plus community talking. Everyone's talking about him, and that's what he's doing, and that's what I'm seeing.
You know what I like the most about him, and it's not even because you know me. I really don't like rapping. I don't dance anymore like I used to, and all this kind of stuff. But what I like most about him is when you watch the stuff that he's doing, you can see that it's not pushed or contrived. It's a natural thing from him. It's probably because he's so conditioned from all the stuff that was taught to him before, and it just it's irrelevant in this day and time. So I mean, stuff that he was doing with the BDSM stuff and the church stuff and the pregnancy, this usually would have people really up in arms.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it didn't get that boom that I thought it would get. So that means that somewhere along the line, we are communicating and understanding, but still there's that opposition because of either the Bible or our backgrounds or where we're from. I mean, you're a young person, so you know. I mean, I'm 60 years old, so it's your turn now. So I'm glad that it's coming from a young person about what is happening today. Now, I want to ask this question because I think it's important. Since the lockdown, and you haven't been able to really hook up because, you know, the bathhouses and all these things are probably shut down now because of the pandemic and all these kinds of things. So what did you do during the pandemic when you were lonely?
All I did was really eat and go to work like 80 hours a week and post like funny content all over my social media. And I kept myself busy because I felt like when I was in the house, I started to get really depressed. So I had to pull myself together and get out the house. Even though there was COVID going on, I still was outside. I still was doing like photo shoots and stuff like that safely. And that's how I made it through. You know, some folks, unfortunately, their stories are different from mine, but I just know that I kept myself busy, which is extremely important because when you are by yourself for all those months and days, hours, seconds, minutes, you know, you tend to go crazy because you're behind four walls all the time. So I made sure I didn't fall into that depression. So I kept myself busy.
Wonderful. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Black men on the DL. What is your advice to just men in general who might be who I don't want to just say of color. The reason we focused in on of color is because of Black men is because we don't talk about this. What do you say to Black men who are just bottoms or effeminate and this is their sexual preference? This is what they like. I mean, because you're open, honest, and you're out. What do you say to them? What's your advice to them?
To the DL community?
Just no, not just to the DL community, to just Black men who might be questioning their sexuality or who might be doing things on the DL and you know, stuff like that. To be like you, not necessarily like you, but to be just more honest with the people that they're hooking up with, or they're in a relationship with, or they're married to. And I mean, because it must be very hard for a man to leave his house with his two children and his wife and go and hook up with a man. You understand what I'm saying?
I was just having some flashbacks, honey.
And for him to come home to his wife after this enjoyable experience, because he wouldn't have went over there on a continue. Because do you have regular DL men that see you that have children? Because most Black men have children somewhere.
I would say at this moment, I don't deal with DL men like that. I don't have any DL men they're in my inbox, but I don't really reply back to it. I'm more of like a conservative bottom. I don't really be out there like that. But however, like when it comes to DL men, I try to stay away from that because it brings a whole bunch of negative energy with it, because it's like you're at the bottom of the barrel. They get what they want, they leave you there, and they go back to their wife and kids. And I'm not going to be number two for nobody, because I'm going to be number one. It's either me or her. You make the decision, because I'm not going to sit up over here and get bust down, and then you leave my house and then go back to your wife and kids and then hit me up and then talk about you catching feelings, but you're married with kids. I don't want to be confused. I don't want to go through any of that. So I try to just avoid that.
Okay, so let's just say Michael's out for a night, and you're feeling frisky, and you're looking for a man. Where would you meet these men? Do you go to the spa? Do you do these? People go to the drive-in movies with people. Do you pick them up at the bars? Where do you meet these men, and mainly men that you are looking for as being a top? Because in most bars these days, these are usually little white twinks that are mostly bottoms. And so how do you find the kind of men that you are looking for?
Well, I want to say probably like about 80% of the time when I am at the club, they think that I'm a top, because I'm like 6'2", 6'3", so I'm tall. So they look at me they see this beard, they see this cute face, they think that I'm a top. So I always attract bottoms my way. So that just doesn't work out for me. But there have been times where there has been guys who come up to me and compliment me and tell me how good I look and things like that, and the conversation that goes from there. But right now, I haven't really been so focused on dating like I used to, because I have to get myself together first before I can date somebody else. So that's the most important thing with me. But back in the day, I would meet them at the bar and stuff like that. We'll go home, do 1, 2, 3, get out, see you later, boom, 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 because no one really wanted, still to this day, a lot of them don't want a relationship. They want to dip and dabble and then lead you on. And that whole entire time, as they're leading you on, they got a whole boyfriend and things like that. So it's like, I'm very cautious when it comes to dating somebody, because I don't want to get another letdown after letdown. I take a different stance from it now. So I have to really look into this person before I sit up over here and give them the time of day, because I don't want my time to be wasted, because that time I invested into that person could have been time I invested into myself.
Okay. Is same-sex marriage legal in Rhode Island?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I actually was married. We'll say that. I actually was married legally. So, yes, been through that too.
Just a couple of more questions, because you've been very interesting, and we've been safe so far the whole show. So she's sitting here and she hasn't said anything. Usually she's like,
your manager?
Yeah.
Your manager said, "Oh, tell us hi."
And she's very quiet. And usually when I'm saying something that I ain't supposed to be saying, and she's all but things are going well, she says. Now let's talk about you. Have you ever been with bottom men that did you ever take a bottom home and he was okay with doing what you wanted to do?
Yes, many moons ago. Yes, I was fooled. Actually, I was fooled before, but yes, I have. A few times.
It must feel weird when you get home with another bottom and the bottom says to you, well, you do me, And then once you've done them, that's if you agreed to do that. And then all of a sudden, they're not interested in the sex anymore because they either thought maybe that you were attractive or you had a large member and they like that kind of stuff. And and they just used you to get what they want. Have you ever been tricked like that?
I have. And when I came to those situations, I just like, no, because they knew I was a bottom. I let them know. And they was like, oh, well, I top here and there. You know, I like top. I'm like, okay, well, I already had a few drinks in me. Let's go back to my house. But that was years ago. That was like the young me, like the early 20s. So now it's like I've grown up from that. I carry myself differently now. So no, I don't deal with that stuff anymore. But I have run into that a few times and respectfully decline and got them back home.
Okay. Now, the reason I'm asking you this is because she wrote down these things here for me to ask, and I think that they make sense. Now, I want to ask you another, a sort of a personal question in the same line as this. Have you ever been home with a married couple, either two guys, or same-sex partners, or husband and wife? And have you ever been home with people like just that random hookups?
Well, I had a threesome with a couple of years ago in Bronx, New York, but that was probably like when I was like 2021. But that was just the first and last time.
Was this a hetero couple or same
no,
sex?
It was gay. It was same sex.
Okay.
Good boyfriends. I think I was like 20 when I did that. But you know, like that's not me. I tried it, I experienced it, and the way how I hold myself to like a very high standard when it comes, especially to my body. Like I just can't do that at 31. I can't do that, you know? So some folks are in it, congratulations to them in their party relationships, but I don't see myself doing that now at age 31. Years ago at 20, I have tried it. It was very interesting, but it wasn't for me.
Okay. Now, another question in line with that. Now, we know and we can talk more openly about this because I see a lot of people talking openly about HIV now and how far it has come, as far as the treatments have come and the advancement of people living longer and doing better, which is an amazing thing. Now, being a bottom doubles your chances for contacting HIV. Now, I'm sure you probably have heard that. We actually dug a little bit into it. Are you afraid of that?
No, I'm not afraid of it. And I noticed something when I went to Atlanta recently to lay my grandmother to rest. And I had a lot of conversation with boys off of Jax, which is a gay app. And lots of them I was chatting with. A lot of them was just always talking about raw sex. And I think that's another huge issue going on in Georgia, where a lot of them do like to have raw sex and not take care of themselves and spread the virus around. Now, if this was like in the 1980s, it'd be a different story. But we're in 2021 where there's PrEP and you can actually protect yourself from HIV and getting the transmission. Truvada actually lowers the chance of HIV/AIDS being transmitted to you. And, you know, some folks back then are so ignorant of not having any knowledge on it. You know, before people that, if you sit on the same toilet with this person with HIV, you catch it. No, it's all through bodily fluids, you know, like blood, things like that, open cut wounds, you know, and those are the things that people of color need to educate themselves on it. That's most important. So that's a whole different conversation, but that's also important for our people to actually educate themselves on that, because I feel like they're not very well educated on it. They hear the word HIV/AIDS, sorry. They're screaming. I had to catch myself again. They're screaming. I'm like, girl, relax. Girl.
Well, Micheal, I'm going to say this. I take my wig off to you because I give you credit. It must take a lot of balls, a lot of guts to just be open and honest. And I think that is the way to be. And I like the fact that you're straight up. This is what I like. So this way because when you know, a lot of the time when we get in bed with people and we expect certain things, 80, I would say 50 to 60% of the time, we're disappointed. And usually the sex comes up laxed, or there's something wrong, or think this ain't working and that ain't working. And I'm just glad that you stood out from the rest, and you stood up. And I just want to say thank you so much for being brave. Thank you for educating us a little bit here today on being Black and the bottom, and having a sexual preference that you stand behind. And a lot of men should be like that. And the fact that you've educated yourself enough to know that your self-worth is valuable. You made some mistakes when you were younger, but now you're older and you understand that this is what I need, this is what I want. And if you don't want to be on the same page as me, then I'm going to move on. And this is an amazing thing. So I just want to say to you, Mr. Micheal Clarke, thank you for being an open and honest Black bottom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. This was amazing. The questions were on point. I love it. I live it.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'm going to say goodbye to you now, but I will see you again in the future. We will catch up with you down the road and see what you're doing. And I want to say to my audience today, Micheal Clarke is an amazing person for being open and honest and teaching our community and many other communities to just be yourself. And remember, when you're in love with someone, or you like someone, or you're just hooking up, be open and honest with them, so that way you can get the best experience from whatever the relationship is from that person, because sometimes lovers can make great friends. So on that note, I'm going to say bye for now, Micheal. Tell your friend I said, how you doing?
I will. Thank you so much.
I want to say thank you to my audience out there. Thank you for watching. This is season 2. Today we had Mr. Micheal Clarke on all the way from Rhode Island. And we want to just say thank you, sir. And we will talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay.